Caspian, smart contracts are finally here on Kaspa. You already know it. Get hyped. And the people that are fudding, well, let me break it to you. Let me break it down. Because this block dag right here, it keeps working. Michael Sutton, the sailor, the Michael Saylor of Kaspa, not really, no. But Michael Sutton, he broke it down, his thoughts on this whole Casplex thing. And honestly, like he said, a win-win for Kaspa. Basically, what he's saying is that it's not ideal, the fact that Casplex is not launching with everything being open source. Okay, so that's not ideal. Obviously, you can't fact check, you can't prove. It's closed source, and they have it closed source because they don't want people copying them, especially at the start. Copycats are a real thing in crypto. I understand. And the thing as well, not just with this closed source code, but it's like this pre-ZK era, pre-zero knowledge proofs. Without these zero knowledge proofs, any sort of bridge, CAS bridge between the L1 to the L2 is going to be centralized in its own way. Like, it's literally impossible to create a bridge that is fully trustless without zero knowledge proofs. It's completely impossible. I mean, even the fact of Nacho building this as decentralized as you can get two-way bridge for KRC20 tokens and even for KRC721 NFTs, that's going to release maybe in the next week or so. I mean, they have 5 independent relayers, so that's like as decentralized as you can get pre-ZK. So pre-ZK, everyone is doing the best that they can, but unfortunately we will need the ZK to get that full decentralized technology. You don't have to trust anyone. There's not any inherent trust. And that's something that, Shy likes fudding Casplex. He has his reasons. He likes to exaggerate as well. He's highly endorsing what Eager Labs has and what they're trying to build. The fact that they're not launching first, they're not launching now before ZK rollups. But at the bottom line, it's just a different approach for a based rollup on Kaspa as an L2. Eager Labs and Casplex. Both are extremely valuable in their own way because they're both going about it in different ways. Okay, so Eager Labs are going the more traditional route. They're like VCs onboarding, and they're getting, they're giving incentives, rewards, all of that. They're having their whole pre-allocations, team allocations. They're getting Shy on the payroll. They're getting everyone paid. Okay, devs are happy, investors are happy. While Casplex is going the more organic route, more in line with Kaspa nativeness in the sense that it's like not releasing a token. So the whole thing goes, and I made videos in this past before, like, do you actually need to incentivize node operators? Okay, Kaspa nodes are not incentivized. You run a Kaspa node, you're not making money from it unless you have an application or whatever, like a blockchain explorer that uses those nodes. Or like for your business, you run the node just to be more decentralized and you don't have to trust anyone. But I mean, blockchain explorers, they're going to be running archival nodes. That's basically the main thing for an archival node. You don't need that. Like, archival nodes are completely unnecessary. But anyways, besides the point, Casplex is not incentivizing, is not going to be rewarding people for running their node. So how many nodes are there going to be? Is it actually necessary? Especially before this whole ZK gets released, like Eager Labs is going to have they're planning to have their nodes incentivized. They're going to have validators. It's the whole type of staking deal, all this money's going to come. But like, even if you wanted to incentivize nodes, okay, you could incentivize nodes with actual transaction fees. You can incentivize them with Kaspa fees. As the network grows, running a node is going to be more monetarily incentivized. So it's going to like essentially scale. The rewards are going to scale with the network. So do you actually need a token to reward people? Do you actually need that Eager token? No, but it's just what they chose to do. So does Casplex have something over Eager? Does Eager have something over Casplex? They're both different approaches to trying to tackle the same problem. They're both going to become based rollups. And the fact that they're going to be, both developing and both launching, it's just that competitive environment. Being competitive, having 2 players makes them more competitive, makes the developers want to build harder, build better. Not having one single entity is just better for the whole Kaspa ecosystem. The thing is, it doesn't just end at smart contracts. It doesn't just end at base rollups, even though this is exactly everything that Ethereum had been trying to achieve since inception. Kaspa is literally the upgrade for Ethereum. Ethereum L2s, man, they're going to be put to rest as Caspa gets more adoption, it gets more recognition. The L2s that are not Casplex or Ecolabs, like what's the point of running them when they're so centralized, they're off chain, they're not based rollups. Based rollups gets you everything that you could possibly want for a smart contract layer. It gets full decentralization, you get the Caspa scalability, the Caspa security from the L1, and security and decentralization in Bitcoin by 6,000 times faster. And now it has the scalability, security, and decentralization, like even more so than Solana and Ethereum combined. You already know Caspa solved the hacking trilemma. This is a fact, okay? But in all honesty, this whole part right here is still technically on paper. It's not being done yet. Okay, Casplex is going to releasing these smart contracts is the putting that foot forward, is putting that foot like in the door for, hey, or knocking on the door of Solana and Ethereum, like, or essentially mainly just Ethereum right now. We're gonna be knocking on Solana's door with vProgs. Okay, but right now we're focusing on Ethereum with the EVM and what smart contracts are all about. vProgs is what Solana does. vProgs are essentially the layer one smart contract kind of. It's not really a smart contract. More so, think about it like individual little computers. It's very good for processing things that are that need to be processed very fast with a memory that's very small. It doesn't have to have a lot of load. It doesn't have like a long payload of transaction history. That's going to be very good for vProgs. vProgs is doing what Solana does, but it makes it decentralized and even more scalable. Okay, then tie that with Dagnite, and we have the end game crypto. This is all coming in the next year. It's about 1 year, within the next 5 months to 1.5 months is like an ETA. Very rough, but seeing this down here, this little like teaser update, Dagnite being worked on by some decoders, Dagnite coders, initial implementation is already taking shape. vProgs, that's not just the yellow paper, but a Rust prototype is a work in progress. That's huge. Okay, progress is happening faster than like we could ever expect, honestly. They like to give hints like, all right, I'm not gonna let Dagnite, I'm gonna make sure Dagnite is released within the next 1.5 years, or I'm gonna make sure it's released well before this whatever, like 2028 or 2027. So Michael Sutton and even Yonatan was really pushing for that in the interview he had with Vlad. Like he was really saying like, I'm gonna really push Michael Sutton. I'm gonna really push and help out to get this stuff done fast, because this stuff needs to be out ASAP, as soon as possible, because this is the DeFi infrastructure required for mass adoption. Okay, a lot of crypto is just with DeFi right now. That's just the fact of the matter. Now you look at Aster, decentralized exchange, basically the decentralized exchange of Binance. So Binance is all that, the bit largest centralized exchange. Now Aster is going to try to be that DeFi exchange for like the extension of Binance. So a lot of this DeFi ecosystem is now finally like, heating up a lot. Okay, Solana has a lot of it. Binance, Smart Chain, like they have a lot of the eyes and attention. So now Caspa, this is the time for Caspa. The next year is going to be huge for Caspa. So do I think smart contracts is going to be like an instant pump for the price? No, absolutely not. And I'm sorry for people that may have that misconception of what the actual value is, because the value is laying the foundation for adoption, DeFi adoption. That's what it's all about. It's literally knocking on the door of Ethereum like, hey, what's up? Caspa's here. You already know. All right, and for real though, people that are selling, not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, man, my friend. All right, you gotta lock into Caspa right now. Lock into your leverage, Nacho. Lock it in right hecking now, because you don't understand what the macroeconomics is saying if you're selling. Like right now, couldn't be better to lock it in. The global M2 continues to rise. Of course it continues to rise. The dollar is messed up. The debt is unsustainable. It couldn't be more clear and obvious where crypto led by Bitcoin is going to take the whole economy in the next 10 years. Okay, you gotta lock in at this low. I'll be doing a walkthrough of smart contracts and Casplex and bridging and how it all works out. It's going to be up to you. Like Michael Sutton was saying, it's basically a win-win. Whether it functions as it does, and there's not a single issue with the launch. It's very smooth sailing. Then it's going to basically show how the power of Caspa. It's going to showcase Caspa's speed, responsiveness, and immense throughput. Throughput that's even higher than BNB. Sit down, CZ, because you just got wrecked. Just kidding, I'm a big fan. And if something stutters or has initial problems similar to the first launch of KRC20, then all right, it's nothing to do with Caspa, literally nothing. This whole thing is Casplex, especially without the ZK opcodes on Caspa L1. This is all reliant completely on Casplex. So Caspa has no fault to add it. And they're going to fix it. Casplex is going to fix it just like they did with KRC20. They're going to fix it up, and it's going to follow iterations. It's going to be perfected, and there we go. All right, everything's going to come in its own time. Everything will fall perfectly into place. It's a win-win for Cas, and this is the first major stepping stone for DeFi. KRC20 honestly was like the test net for DeFi, like the test net of Caspa's capabilities, transactions per second, transactions per day. That was a huge milestone for Caspa when KRC20 launched and everything that followed. So now we're getting smart contracts, and after smart contracts, it's going to be VProgs, Dagnite, zero knowledge proof. It's just going to keep going. And this is the foundation. It's going to keep rising. And if you're selling now before all this technology is developed and released and published for adoption, then you're just not making it. Like right now, you got to invest. This is the time for long-term serious investors. It's not the time for Jeets. If you're a Jeet, come back in a year, come back in 2 years, come buy Caspa at $1. That's what I suggest for you Jeets out there. All right, so I'll be walking through Casplex smart contracts, ZK EVM. Here we go. You basically going to click this and everything's going to be here. I'll be showing you how it's done with Casware and with MetaMask as well, and with MetaMask connected with the ledger. Now, I highly suggest getting a ledger because that's going to be a cold storage on the EVM compatible wallet. Ledger is compatible with MetaMask. Okay, that integration is already working and it's already live. That's why I highly suggest getting a ledger. Link is in description. Find one that you like. You don't need something super expensive. The price can get up there. Get something that you like. Get something that you want to use because it's cold storage. You got to remember, smart contracts, it couldn't be easier for your funds to get drained. All it takes is one click, one signature, and you're done for. Your wallet is drained. It could even drain multiple wallets. Your whole computer from the malware could be messed up. Your computer is then done for, and you just, whenever you try to send a transaction, it'll send to somewhere else, or you're gonna have issues. You could have phishing token inside your wallet, and then you interact it with it. Boom! Whenever you put money into your wallet, it gets drained out. It's terrible. I've seen it happen. It's awful. A lot of Caspians, they aren't familiar with smart contracts and how the EVM works, how scammers can take advantage of you. So you got to be super freaking careful with your money. Keep it in cold storage. Highly suggest looking into cold storage solution like Ledger. Okay, Ledger is also going to be natively compatible with Caspa on Ledger Live. It's going to make that type of integration even simpler. But the thing is, you use Ledger with a MetaMask extension, just like this is Casware. You use the Ledger with MetaMask instead of Casware because Casware is just not yet integrated with Ledger. But MetaMask with Ledger works currently right now with smart contracts. Okay, so you're going to basically add a new network. Add a network to the MetaMask. You're going to add Casplex network to MetaMask, and there you go. I'll walk you through it in another video. Peace out.